So, Kanika, may I please request you to quickly tell our viewers and, of course, Ashish sir about the organization, please?
Sure. Uh, so I'll start with why I joined Share a Book India. So in my first conversation with Preeti, who is the co-founder of SABIA, I remember she mentioned that so both of them are co-founders. So both of them had gone to a local private school to inquire about the rights of education, and there they found that there was no library. The principal told that there's actually no need for these students to read any books other than the curriculum. So that came as a huge shock to me, because books give children from these under resourced communities a chance to expose to a world which is beyond their circumstances. So we are privileged to have access to books and to have a family that encourages us to read. But these children do not have that. And it was very disheartening for me that there are still people who think that reading books other than the curriculum is just not needed. So they also went to, in government schools, and despite that, they found that there were no libraries and there was no dedicated period kept for these libraries, right? So Sabia started with its first school library in Kota, Rajasthan, which is now a self-sustainable library. I mean, it's very heartwarming to see that now seniors in those schools are motivating juniors to read more books. And when I visited the place, I was touched to know that there were children who have read more books and who have learned the language English through reading those books. So, the kind of impact that Sabia has had over the years, and it's encouraging children to read, it's immense. So, as of now, we have conducted about 600 storytelling sessions. We have launched 153 school libraries. It's just very heartwarming when we we listen to these testimonials and we see that this is having a larger impact, and it's not just in terms of like it's exposing these children to a lot larger world than their circumstances allow. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Kanika. So, let's start speaking with you. So, movies and cinema are often considered one of the best way to inspire an entire generation. A single dialogue, a scene, or a story from a movie can be more than sufficient to create a mark in the life of someone who's watching it, the audience. So, could you mention a movie of yours that holds a very strong message for today's generation? And also, what is the message and how important is it for the current society, for today's society?
So, Benaifa, thank you so very much. And thank you, Kanika, for bringing forth the background of um, uh, SABIA. That's what you call it, right? Share a Book India Association. SABIA. Loved it. So even before this question, Benaifa, even as Kanika was relating that story, I must share something. Uh, yes, films do make a difference, but I want to share today some anecdotes from my life, which are probably I'm finding a connect here. So I grew up in Delhi, and my father, Govind Vidyarthi, he loved books, and we had a huge number of books. But his source of books were the interesting things for me. His source of books were secondhand books that he would pick up from booksellers in Delhi, Janpath, and Old Delhi. And so books were regularly picked up from there at throwaway prices. And they were all very carefully kept in our cupboard and read bookshelves. One series of things that he picked up over the years, as I grew up, I recall, were old issues of National Geographic, which we could never have afforded. But I think he used to pick it up for 5 rupees or 10 rupees or something, which was again not a very small sum, but still he would pick up. So I was initiated to the world by National Geographic, apart from other things. And I started reading stories. I started uh, looking at photographs of the entire world and the cultures and how different societies lived, how they evolved, how science touched them. Now, it's all a different thing about which prism were those things written from. That's a completely thing. But for me, it introduced me to worlds and cultures. And so my interest, not just for me to travel, but also to kind of, travel with people, started from there. And years later, I went to Egypt with my family, my child, and my friends' families, and we all traveled. And we went down to, among many other places, to uh, the tomb. It's on the Nasser Lake. Why am I forgetting the name? One second. Can we just get the name of that famous tomb, um, which was uh, much lower, and it was put up. It was carried up. It was sliced into pieces and carried up, and that entire article was there in the National Geographic. And how block by block it was cut and marked, and this was in the 60s. And that entire tomb, Abu Simbel, the temple of Abu Simbel, was moved up, and then it was placed up. And I had read that article of how it was the archaeologists had done that, and engineers had come together and put it up. Years later, when my parents were no longer there, and I was there as the children and everybody was right next to Abu Simbel, I stood at a distance and I wept. And like how I wept, I was very grateful that I was looking at something, a spectacle which had come out from me in a book years back from a magazine. But I felt so sad that I could not bring my father there and my mother there. And so therefore, for me, the very fact that books can be reused, anything that is created once or bought once may be reused. Just because it is not being used by you doesn't mean that you just keep it away, stash it away. I think, what used to earlier happen as secondhand books, and what you people are doing by sharing a book which is, it has outlived its existence and usability with you, and if you can share it, so it's a very, very powerful thing. And for me, therefore, I think books have tales to tell, including the signatures that have been put, with love on your birthday, or with something somebody has written, with that signature, when it reaches and passes generations. uh, I think share a book is sharing not just the content of it, but also, uh, you know in a way, it is passing on, what has benefited you. And let's face it, there are things which seem redundant. Consider these are redundant to this set, but it is of use to others. So in a world where we say that let's reuse things, this is not just reuse, it's actually uh, recreate new memories, recreate new possibilities. So books have those igniting possibilities. And so therefore, hats off to this entire thing that you people have started. And as an actor, yes, of course, we have many films which tell many stories. But I promise you, uh, when and as you mentioned, that in Kota, when those books have opened up a world of possibilities, and that is what is possible in books, is that curriculum is needed, because curriculum will, in a planned way, teach people something. But imagine that curriculum lit up by knowledge of the world, because that is what will make it usable, um, grounded in reality. And also, books allow books allow you to dream, because at some point that book was a very futuristic thing. All right, and you say, wow, it is now real. Okay, but imagine, it is a pull for you to create something, to state a story which only exists in you. So book in a way is a creation which can inspire people to create themselves. So lovely. It's a window into minds, and I love stories. And I think that as in books you narrate stories, uh, lives are opened up, ways of thinking are opening up. And let, as you know, in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, our motto was, let noble thoughts come to you from all sides. And therefore, a plethora of books, different kinds of books, will allow the child and the adult to be illuminated from all sides. Yeah.
So beautifully put, sir. I think you sum up the entire cause and purpose of our organization so beautifully. Thank you so much. And I think the fact that, you have really kind of, highlighted the importance and the value of, sharing a book.
Mm.
It's just so beautiful.
It's a bit like, you know, remember the passed down clothes?
Yes.
Now, sometimes people think that, "Arey yaar, it is like," no, it's a question that it is still of use. It is still of use to someone. And now add to it, when you open the book and you smell it, there is a new book smell, and then there is a musty book smell,
Yes.
which has been opened many a times, and probably some stain which is there. Probably there is a stain there. Okay, and it has a tail. So I think it's a very live thing, which the Kindles of the world, we are still trying to, color it that way, make it old. But this feels old, and the care. What you just shared, our son, who is now 21, when he was, I think, 2 or 3 years old, 2 years old, I got him his first books, and they were not those thick books, thick page books which children,
Yes.
cannot tear.
Yes.
I used to get him a normal book, and I would turn the pages with him, and then he would turn the pages. Okay. So we got used to the fact that the children are not supposed to be tearing books. If they are supposed to be tearing paper or anything, then that's a different paper. So he learned to differentiate between a paper which he may tear and paper which he may turn, or paper on which he may scribble, or paper from which he may read. And I think books are, sitting with your child and reading a book is an extraordinary thing. And who knows, those children who, as you say, you have a center now, a self, supportive center in Kota. Probably those kids will be reading books for their children, something which they missed out. And that's the fantastic thing about life, Benaifer and Kanika. The point is not whether everyone has everything. Um, so the world is a world of unequals. That's exactly how it is. That's exactly how life is. Life isn't equal. But when a few people can cause some things to happen for others, that is life. That is also life. Where in the inequity, there are some people who are saying that, hey, listen, can I do my bit? All right. And what you people are doing is, a great rendition of your life. I mean, you are satiating yourself. You're saying that you're doing, it's a day well lived by you. And I promise you, it is having a huge impact. I can visualize it, that those kids probably are at this point just probably even reading a book to their siblings or to other children. So fantastic.
Yes. So, sir, this entire fundraising initiative that we are having, which started on the 14th of November, Children's Day, and which is going to continue until 14th December, is for exactly this cause, and we have very, very kind and generous people like yourself who have teamed up with us, who've spoken with us, who really kind of, promoted this entire initiative. So we've tied up with Milap, the crowdfunding organization, and whoever is interested to contribute, and I like to use the word contribute versus donate because it's giving back to society. So they can go to the Milap link and contribute right from 100 rupees to a lakh, whatever they wish to. We accept each and every rupee with as much gratitude. So thank you once again for saying such lovely things about it. It just kind of, I think motivates us and keeps us going and just makes us feel that we're doing something in the right direction.
And
Apart from the
I'll
smiles.
just completing,
Yes.
Benaifa, I just want to share
Yes.
one thing.
Yes.
Why one should contribute in any which way. It makes you feel that you have done something more than just for yourself. And that's a very fulfilling feeling. And when organizations like you do such things, it allows people like me, it allows people like people who are watching to say that, you know what, ho sakta hai, we are not full-time doing this, but at least we are the wind beneath the sails of other people who are doing it. So thank you for your support, and I will be putting in my contribution today itself for this. So thank you so very much
Thank you
for the
so
effort
much.
that you are doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank
So,
you.
Sir, just quickly, like I asked you, a movie that you feel, one of your works that has really influenced an entire generation. So, if you could want to quickly share something
I
about
wonder.
that, please.
I wonder. Well, film goers have been really influenced by a film called Drohokal that I have done. A film which is, again, it's something which people who like films and like movie making, they are huge fans of Drohokal. That was a film made by Mr. Govind Helani, and it was my first release, and I won the national award for that. That is one film. Another film which is is again very, very dear to me. It probably tells a story in an interesting way. Is a film called um, Mamuli Ram. It is made on Mr. Kurian, and that's a film not much talked about. It's a docu feature, again produced by Sham Babu, Mr. Sham Benegal. That is again a very, very interesting film. So most of my films have been mainstream commercial cinema, and they probably have, their own learnings. But these two films come to my mind, and of course, Sardar, which is my first film that I shot for, in which I played the role of VP Menon. And so we all continue to tell stories through films. All right. So each day at my work, be it as an actor or be it as a motivational speaker, through Avid Miner, I am I'm in service of people looking at possibilities. So that is what is the essence of the whole lot of work that I've been doing over the last 7 years, other than acting. So making conversations, having conversations with people and large sets of people, be it in corporates or be it in spaces in which people are looking at ways to make their day meaningful, and that's what Avid Miner is. And I feel grateful to the universe that people like you and I are alive. And if you and I are alive, can we make our day worthwhile? Can we do something which adds value to life? And I promise you, Benaifer, as we pass each day saying that I have added value to life, I myself feel valued. And when I feel valued, I feel great. So it's a very straight correlation. The source of happiness is contribution. And so what you're doing is, in that thing, you are actually giving people an opportunity to be happy and saying that I did a day, I have lived a day, which I can say that it's a well-lived day. So thank you for your contribution. And uh, this is my two bit on why contribution and ways to create contribution is a great help to all. Thank you so very much.
You so much, sir. So, sir, as you mentioned, you've given so many talks being a motivational speaker. So, the one question that comes to my mind, which is based on your TEDx event in Tuxila at Tuxila Business School, was that you've mentioned that we should not take our vulnerabilities as our liabilities. We should
Mhm.
accept them, consider ourselves extraordinary, and move towards our goal. However, all of us, as we grow up, are more cognizant of our vulnerabilities. Like you're short, you cannot be a good sports person, you're not intelligent, you cannot excel in your studies, and so on and so forth. And most of which are not even true, very often. However, when we are not mature enough, it is difficult to not agree with these words. You're so influenced. So, what message do you have for young impressionable minds and for the society to not grow these seeds of pseudo vulnerability, many of which have successfully finished a lot of careers even before they could take off?
Yeah. So, see, first of all, there are two things about it. There are always going to be two voices. You'll have to be mindful of two voices. It is in description of you, all right? It's in description of two voices. One voice is the voice which you hear from outside. Okay. Mostly you remember voices which are not very good about us, right? You're not good, you're not intelligent, you're not beautiful, you're not bright, you're not da 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 da. That's the outside voice. Okay. Fantastic. I promise you, you cannot stop those voices. All right. You cannot stop those voices. But what matters is the second voice. And that second voice is my voice, is your voice. You have to mind that second voice. If your second voice also joins in that chorus, you're not good. Yes, I'm not good. Story over. You're not beautiful. Yes, I'm not beautiful. Story over. All right. You're not good enough. Yes, I'm not good enough. Story over. But if this voice becomes, you're not good enough, really? Of course I am good enough. Now starts the game. You're not bright, really? You really see? I will show you how intelligent I am. I'm going to improve myself. Remember this, my friend. Life is that voice versus this voice. You will never reach a world where there'll be only good voices coming in. That if you come into that world, that's your home. With some very nice people. Okay, life is not like that. Life is mostly you will hear words which don't seem very good. And also to let you know, a whole lot of those voices are right. You're not incorrect. They are right. Now, use those voices to pull yourself up rather than pulling yourself down. So whenever somebody says, hey, Ashish, you have gained weight, I say, okay, gosh, I got to, as in, up my game so as to work on my health. If somebody said that your diction isn't correct, okay, so I have to improve it. So use those voices to be a correction for you. Remember, my friend, as long as you are alive, as long as you're around, you have the scope to improve your life. And when you can improve your life, your caliber, your abilities, that is when you add more value to the world, and then the voices change. Do you get that?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
those voices will change, but you will have to up your game. So it could be through any way. It could be through reading books. It could be upskilling yourself, working hard on yourself, learning from others. It could be any which way. The game is very simple. You have to see that your contribution to the world is only your responsibility. Don't look that world is going to give me more. Train yourself in such a way that you are saying that I will give more to the world, and find ways to train yourself. Find ways to up your skill. So I'm an actor, and then I said that, you know what, I will also contribute more by sharing with the world what is possible with the lives. And for that, I had to upskill myself. Okay. Rejig myself, create more avenues for myself, find more spaces in time for myself, so as to I can add more value. So when your game is not what will the world give me to what else can I give to life, That is when you will see improving your life. When you are now in the driver's seat, you're not an asker, you are a nourisher. You nourish life. That is the game. Yeah. So please recognize yourself as the nourisher.
So, sir, you've always made the impossible possible. You speak three languages, if I'm not wrong,
Yes,
and
Hindi,
you
English,
work.
Bangla, but I work in 11 languages. So I
Yes.
don't know 8 of the 11 languages I work in.
How do you manage that?
That'll be a topic of another interview, my dear. And it'll be a long one.
Okay.
But I discovered. So here is another thing. So as I started working in languages other than the ones that I know, it's also very important to know what are your shortcomings. So world of possibility doesn't mean everything is possible. It means that I will make things possible, and I will also recognize things which I say are not. Like, for example, through my life, Benaifer, I could never come close to mathematics. Many people have told me, Ashish, stop saying that. I just, look, I know what I'm dealing with. But numbers never seem to add up for me. So what I did is that I said I will do things so that I can oversee certain things and have certain people look into the numbers. So remember all the things that there'll be some things in life that you cannot do. And you will discover over a period. Look, these are the things I'm not really good at now. Don't just lament about it. Find ways around it. So languages is another thing that I discovered that I'm not very proficient in picking up languages. I'm like, my mind works more in communication rather than language. So I love sounds rather than the language itself. So as I started working other languages, I found ways to express myself without knowing the language. Now, this is not something which I would recommend to others, but this is what worked for me. It allowed me to do 200 plus films across 11 languages. So in life, find out things that work for you. The only caveat is go make a difference. Go make a difference. I'm very clear that as I worked in so many films across cultures, I could go and entertain people. People love me. I've reached people's heart. But it took an effort. It took me to find ways to do it. So in life, it's a bit like this. The booby prize is there. All right, it's there. The job that you and I have is to find our unique path to that place. So it's a creative. Life is creative. Solutions are creative. Paths are creative. So don't think you're limited. And therefore, the need for books.
Yes.
Therefore, the need to illuminate yourself from different ways. Because if you only have one light, then you can only see this path. But allow yourself to say, oh, okay, that's possible. Acha, that's possible. And that all this is possible when you allow different kinds of thoughts to touch you. So have different kinds of friendships, different sorts of people that you're friends with. Chalk cheese. That's why I say, my friends are so different from one another. But what is common in all of them is they are all extraordinary human beings. So when you are with extraordinary human beings, they will continuously inspire you to be bigger than you are. Okay. Their likes and dislikes may be very different from yours, but are they inspiring you? And yep.
You
get yourself illuminated. Yes.
You surely inspired me, and I think I can say this on behalf of Kanika as well. So
Definitely, yeah.
So just a quick question. Being a reader yourself, how much do you think that has had an impact in your son's journey and love for books? And how important do you think is it for a parent to be a reader so that they pass it on to generations?
Yeah. Okay. So here it is. I've been an avid reader right through my childhood, right into college time. I used to be an avid reader. And, I understood the need for reading books and how illuminating it is. So from a very early age, my son used to be around books. In fact, he used to go for dinners and he used to carry books, he used to just be reading. And, but for me, something very interesting happened post-college or a little later after that. After drama school, after I came down to Bombay, my attention span diverted. I saw that I was not reading books. And I said that I moved from books to articles. Okay, I've moved from articles to audio and visual videos. So I have noticed that maybe I'm not reading as much as I used to, but am I allowing things to come in? Yes. All right. And I have noticed that Arth, our son, um, uh, I think his initial opening up to life was thanks to books. So he was a protected child, in a what's it called? In a cellular, what is it called? What family is it called?
Nuclear.
Nuclear family. Protected child in a nuclear family. But the books allowed him to see a world beyond this. Uh, but having said that, I'll tell you an insider joke also. So not just am I interested in books, I'm also interested in anything to do with history and archaeology and stuff like that. So any city, anywhere where I would take Earth as a child, I would take him to a museum. In fact, his running joke with me is that if that city has a museum, then we have visited it. And then there's also another joke which I wonder I should tell you here or not. I hope it's just a joke. He says, and by the way, I have given myself a promise. I'll never take my child to a museum. So ouch, it hurts. But I guess when he grows up and becomes a father, he probably will eat those words too and take his kids to a museum. But essentially, I'm saying, do what you think is right, my friend. Don't ape anybody else. How I share ideas with people, why I share ideas with people is that uh, someone has invented the wheel. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Books
Yes.
and ideas are
Yes.
there. Let those ideas come to you and take you to the next level. Take you to the next level. It's already been there. So you need not be being the absolute, no one ever thought about it. No. Let someone else has thought about it. What can you do with that idea? That is creativity. That is your ability to add value to the civilization, to what humankind is all about. So allow the already existing to touch you for you to take it to another level.
Absolutely. The seed is already sown. It's just how you develop it further. Thank you so much, sir. It's been such an honor speaking with you. If you could please reach out to your fans and followers and really urge them to contribute their little bit, please.
Please give your bit, my friend. It will be a satisfying experience for you, whatever that you can give, $100, 1,000 rupees, or whatever else, your books, whatever. Remember, um, you are useful. Your things are useful. The work that you do, you sometimes may feel, I just keep, I am in this humdrum. No, but with that money that you earn, you can add value to someone else. And I promise you, when you add value, you actually add value to yourself. So please, dil khol ke contribute karo dost. Thank you.